foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
Separating the truth from the lies, coming at you from underneath the Noonan, Georgia, heavily chemtrails, unstimulated sky. You're about to receive another dose of the shock treatment. Folks, I was gonna reserve this for Friday. Usually Fridays is Your Skies Today Day. But this is coming from a channel, actually two channels. One of them is geoengineeringwatch.org and the other one is Think About It. Both, I mean, I can't speak for geoengineeringwatch.org, but Think About It is a Christian channel, okay? Head up by a guy named Steve. I don't know his last name, but I've been following him for quite some time. And every now and then, Steve will talk about the NWO's plan to off many people, depopulation, Georgia Guidestone sort of thing, all right? And he has an extensive video, several videos, discussing why they would do this. So this is not a figment of anyone's imagination. Now, people could have cognitive dissonance, which they do. They don't want to believe it. They're in a little bubble. I get it. But according to Dane Wigington, and even if you just listen to people like Pastor Paul Begley, who reports the news about animals washing ashore, sea life, I should say, and birds falling out of the sky, of course 5G. Like in The Hague, for instance, they did a 5G test, killed a bunch of birds. I mean, there are other factors, what I'm trying to say, with the killing off of animals, and there are other factors in the decline in our longevity, because you look at that, Xing, who you Xing now? But the main thing, the big assault, as they're saying, is this one right over your head, and those ain't normal clouds, folks. That's the... Better harp on out of here. You think those are normal clouds, but this stuff is making people sick. It's making respiratory. If you're developing respiratory illnesses, some people are getting lung. I'm not saying the C word, in the lungs, in the liver, and then never drank or smoke or things like that. You might want to start connecting the dots. Did you take your vaccines like a good little sheeple? You're breathing in your chemtrails: aluminum, strontium, barium, desiccated blood cells, cadmium. I can't even remember half the stuff they're putting in this crap. Chaff. Here's another thing I want you to think about too. For YouTube, CommieTube, CensorTube, BoobTube, for them to actually try to put a disclaimer by putting Encyclopedia Britannica saying those are contrails under every chemtrail video or geoengineering video, why would they bother if what we're saying is not true? Why would they even mess with us? No, they're trying to mess with your head, and by saying what we're saying is false, which it's not. It's not a hoax, it's a fact. The biggest joke played on humanity right now is you guys, everyone, getting sprayed, and not the ones especially not awake to it. They don't want us to reach critical mass awareness. Have you been developing any upper respiratory illnesses? Well, I'm going to say this from my experience. I never have the sniffles or runny nose unless I have an actual cold, and the colds don't last long. I don't know, a week? Several days, whatever. My nose started dripping last fall, in the fall time. Never happened like this before. Felt fine. Not infected, but it hasn't gone away. And I'm attributing this, and so is Steve from Think About It, because he actually did a video on this, and he doesn't show his face, which is rare. I've never seen a video where he didn't show himself, but he says that he's sick. All right? He says that he's sick. Listen.
Last night, I've suffered some of the typical symptoms of extreme sinus pressure to the point of it making me sick and ill, like I have many times before, because of the geoengineered sprayed aerosols over the skies here where I live. I have no doubt, if you haven't suffered from some type of upper respiratory issue, that you've experienced other symptoms caused by chemtrails over your area. These chemtrails are not any conspiracy theory, since your own government has already admitted they spray and have been spraying. It's not a theory, but it's a conspiracy against humanity, and I believe that it's the most dangerous threat to humanity in the world right now. The assault.
So this is from a guy who's in the know. All right, he studies the Bible backwards and frontwards. He's not a Johnny come lately. His Christian channel is called Think About It, and he's never not shown his face like that. He's just shown a still picture. So he experienced intense sinus pressure, and he's attributing it to the chemtrails, and I can't blame him. And some people out there will go, well, it's springtime. No, he would know the difference whether or not it's normal allergies for springtime and pollen, and something that's, you know, that's much bigger than that, okay? See, this is exactly where the power structure wants you. They want you confused. They want you to say, well, that's just like in the Bible, you know? People that don't think we're in the last days go, oh, it's been this way forever. And that's exactly what the Bible says. Scoffers will come and say, it's been this way since our fathers fallen asleep. Nothing to see here, folks. That's where they want you. Nothing to see here, folks, as they do it to you. Don't you get it? So for a lot of people to come out, you know, it's one thing in a Luciferian community like NASA, never a straight answer, to make claims that aren't true. But it's quite another for, you know, people in the Christian community, prominent people, to come out and say, make claims like this, because they're not going to lie to you. I'm not saying Christians never lie, but they're not going to risk their reputation. They're really going to be more moral. You know what I'm saying in that respect. Not every Christian is, but I'm just saying overall. And I'm not saying there aren't good people who aren't Christians. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is you can pretty much take it to the bank that when you get all the people in the Christian community like this, Richie from Boston, Steve from this channel, Pastor Paul Begley talks about it every now and then. Pastor Charles Lawson out of Knoxville actually mentioned it in his sermons. One of his sermons I caught. That's how I got to follow him. So Harvard came out with this, folks. Harvard came out and admitted that they are spraying the skies, and they were under the guise of solar radiation management. So, and PBS did a whole thing on this. I'm looking at it right now. A cheap but dangerous global fix. So it's, you know, it's not just people in the Christian community talking about it. It is secular, but the secular communities finally, as far as PBS and the Harvards, they're coming out and saying now, because the whistle's been blown. Too many people have been waking others up to this, and so they have no choice but to say, hey, yeah, we're doing this, and it's dangerous, as the article says. Let's X that out. It's dangerous, but it's a quick fix. So basically, they're playing God. That's what they're doing, and you're the guinea pig. We're the guinea pigs. So we need to reach critical mass awareness, because this stuff is not good. It's coming down into the atmosphere. It's coming down into the atmosphere, and everything is breathing and taking it in. The plants, the animals, people. Why would a website called The Truth About the C Word, I'm not going to say it, actually have an article about this if this is all a hoax? Why would even Harvard be forced to come out and admit it if this was all a hoax? Why would PBS do an article saying it's a cheap but dangerous fix if this was all a hoax, folks? Why would the Discovery Channel in 2009 do a documentary, a program on chemtrails if this was all a hoax? You want to know why? Because it's not a hoax, folks. It's not a hoax. The only thing is, the joke's on you, the yoke's on you, if you think for one iota of a second that you're not breathing in aluminum, strontium, barium, chaff. What else do we have here, folks? What else? What else? The proof is in the pudding. Cadmium. It's in our organic vegetables. Nanoparticulates. It's cumulative, the aluminum in your brain. And there are ways to get this out. There are ways to protect and clean your body, of course, but you got to get to doing it. Detoxing of the heavy metals. Go do your homework, research this up. But in the meantime, you hereby been chemtrailed. Steve from Think About It's been chemtrailed. The entire world's being chemtrailed, and no one seems to care. Very few people. It's absolutely insane. Until next time, you receive the shock treatment.